Ladies and gentlemen, um, my name is Fadi Kutub. I would like to welcome you very much to ICT 712 Information Technology Project Management. I did send you a welcome message yesterday because I would like you to have all the information you need to be able to do well in this subject. You don't know me, but you will see me working as hard as possible to try to give you the maximum learning possible. I'll try to share with you my experience, not simply from a academic perspective, but also from a technical perspective and from the industry perspective. So I'll try to share some videos and some other, if you want, materials and resources relating to what happens in industry. So we'll talk more about that. We'll learn more about it, and I want you to know that I am here, your friend. I would like to offer you all the support you need, and it is your responsibility to make contact with me if you need any assistance. It is also your responsibility to ensure that you're going to start working hard from the subject from the beginning, and I mean from now. And the reason why is because every single subject that I go and deliver is usually interlinked to the next subject, especially subjects week 2 to week 8. And there's going to be a lot of technical skills that I'm going to try to teach you between now and later in the actual project. So it is very, very important that you have a good understanding about all of these technical concepts. If you miss one lecture or one tutorial, it could mean the difference between understanding the concept and understanding the concept that actually follows the next week, because concept week 2 is linked to week 3, is linked to week 4, and we keep on building on it as we move along. So coming every week is really, really essential to get everything that you require from this subject. Now, what I want you to know is I usually try to go on for a bit, take a break, go on for a bit, give you a break. Usually towards midway through each lecture or class, I'll try to give you a break so that you can rest up, you go to the toilet, you go whatever you would like, so that you will be fresh before we start the next classroom. If at any point of time you need assistance, you need help, you need to interrupt, feel free to send me a message. If I ask you a question, do you understand? Maybe just do me like this or like that, so that I will know that that you guys are going well and there's no problems. If you have a question you're not sure about, make sure you ask me so that I can stop and make sure I share with you that information. Now, today is an introductory topic, and with any introductory topic, there will probably be a bit more theoretical aspect than a lot of practical examples. So I guess there's no network diagrams, there's no technical side about project management today, not much at least. There's just more the foundations that I'm trying to go and explain to you today. But I'm going to continue by saying, if you want to email me using my COI email address, fadi.kotob. I really hope between now and the end of the semester, you will remember my name. Because usually my students always submit the assignment. Sometimes they told me Fadi, Koton, Fadi, Katob. Like I have so many variations of my name that students choose to go and change for me all the time. My name is Fadi, F-A-D-I. My surname is Kutub, K-O-T-O-B. You want to email me, please email me, but please remind me which course you are studying and which tutorial. Because I do have a lot of students and in the classroom. And I want to always make sure I am protecting your information. I'm making sure that everything you provide is going to remain confidential. And that's why I will only respond to messages that are sent using COI's email addresses. Now, if you want to meet me face-to-face for any reason, you can do so. You can just email me for an appointment and I'll organize to go and have an appointment for you. Any questions?
No, sir, all good.
All right, if there's anybody,
No,
just remember, chat, send me some message. I'm happy to stop. No problem at all. I just want to make sure you know everything you need to know. Now, about me, my teaching philosophy is very simple. I'm committed to excellence in teaching. I've actually won many teaching awards and many nominations for outstanding contribution to teaching and learning. I have not simply bring a lot of experience from a teaching perspective, but also I have a industry experience working in a number of fields, including in the IT field. For me, teaching is about you. Teaching is about me looking at my beautiful students and saying to myself, these are not a number in my class, these are individuals. I want to care about each one of you. And I want to do my best to try to support you. So what I try to do throughout the course is I try to help you achieve many things. To be able to deliver excellence, I try to work as a facilitator who try to give you a mix of practical and theoretical experience. I want to motivate you because no one is going to believe and trust in your ability more than me. I want to motivate you to reach your full potential. I want to care for you, which is about supporting you during your needs during the course. But I also want to go and support you, which is when you are no longer my students. I provide a lot of support, provide a lot of guidance because I care about you guys as individuals, not simply when you are my students. So we'll have a journey of relationship which starts now and continue all the way into the future. I'm going to go a bit through the subject outline and surviving the course. So I'm going to go and open the subject outline. And what I want to tell you, I'm going to share a new screen so that you can see the outline. Okay, so you can see the subject outline, guys, here. Can you guys see it?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So obviously there's a number of learning outcomes we're trying to go and deliver. Okay, we want you to evaluate project requirements, phases, techniques, processes. We want you to apply IT project management concepts, methodologies, techniques, and tools. We talk about applying. And when I talk about applying, okay, I go back here and you see your quizzes are about applying. Your assessment 3 is about applying. Okay, so we need to go and ensure we're going to go and apply IT project management concept, methodologies, techniques, and tools. And that's why there's a lot of technical things I'll be teaching you, and we want to expect you to be able to go and apply it the way it should go and be applied. We're going to teach you about various alternatives to project management. We're going to teach you about project management body of knowledge, PMBOK, and the agile methodology, which are very important and very well used in the IT field. We're going to talk about things such as ethics. We're going to talk about project requirements, phases, scope, you name it. We're going to build your knowledge from an IT project management perspective. There are many subjects. I've been, as you see on Moodle, I've already have between week 1 and 7 available for you already there, and I've developed all of these tutorials. I've worked so hard to develop the content in a way that is going to give you all the details that you are going to be needing. So embrace that, learn that, take notes. If there's anything you're not sure about, always go and ask the questions. We are going to have a number of assessments, and I'm not going to go and read them now, but there's in week 4, we're going to have a quiz. There's a week 7, we're going to have another quiz. And you can see this is week 1 to 3, this is week 1 to 6. So all of these technical things I'm teaching you, if you're not attending your lectures, if you're not attending your tutorials, you won't be able to gain that knowledge. So I need you to be present and to be attending and studying and applying all of these calculations that you are expected to go and do. Week 11 is a very big assignment, and we'll talk about it in due course. And obviously there's a final exam, which again will have a lot of the technical things and application from project management. You will probably find I'll be teaching you or asking you very little questions about theory and more questions about understanding the subject, which is why you need to be present, you need to be learning everything I go and teach you throughout the course. Now, there's a lot of information that is available down here about the quizzes and the assignments. You can read through that at the later stage, but it's very important you understand the requirements of this subject. Now, I'm going to move back to, going to go and share that screen again. Can you see my lecture screen again? Yep?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to tell you and warn you about something from the beginning. Plagiarism is something that is never allowed, and something we need to go and ensure it has to be stopped at all avenues. So when I talk about plagiarism, it's using someone else's ideas, design, work, just a serious offense. Do not do it. We have a policy, and people who don't who do plagiarism, who copy other people's work, will go directly to the academic services team and will go and have a plagiarism case investigated. Last semester, we had people getting between 40% and 60% penalty. We even had groups getting 0. So plagiarism is never accepted. If anybody tries to copy any content from someone else's work or anything, it will go under investigation and people could get zero. And sometimes it could take an extended period of time for this investigation to take place. Now, students don't mean to do plagiarism, but how do you avoid it? Is learning support. The library, they offer advice on how do you avoid it. What's the difference between a direct quote and an indirect quote? What's the difference between summarizing and paraphrasing? How do I integrate evidence from various sources and use it in my writing? How do I do the right referencing? All of these are things you guys need to be aware of as part of doing your master's degree. And you can learn more about it if you would like by visiting the library. But it's a very, very important topic that we would like you to go and focus on. Turnitin. Your assignment, the group assignment, must be submitted to Turnitin using Moodle, and any exams that we do online will also have to be submitted via Turnitin. So any copying that will be done will be immediately identified in whatever we go and actually submit. Information about submitting requirements will be discussed in due time. One thing I can tell you, for example, if you are going to be sitting an exam, we expect to be able to see you writing that exam in front of us. So you cannot turn your video off, you cannot turn anything. You have to always be with us at that time, communicating with us, doing it on paper possibly. All of this we'll talk about in due course. Please aim to be on time. Like at the moment, I have 29 people, all came on time. I thank you very much for that and keep on doing it. We have about 16 people or so that are not here, and I hope they could actually in the future come on time. My advice is minimize disruption. So when you come in, if you're on silent, if you want to speak, just take it off the speaker or make a communication with me, make a chat, and talk to me. Like, I want to help you. So make sure you have a chat and you ask me if you have any questions. I highly recommend you attend all the lectures and all the tutorials. Okay. My tutorials are not boring. My tutorials are not about, okay, I just ran this lecture for you. Can you go and find me the answer for this question that is in the lecture? That's not my tutorials. My tutorial is very much involved, very much practical, very much communicating together, talking together. It's not about designed to make you bored. It's designed to make you engage in activities and maximize your learning. So attend all the lectures, attend all the tutorials, because you will find that what's in the tutorial is really an application of the lecture, but nothing from the lecture is really repeated. So if you don't attend the lecture, you've missed the bulk of the content that will help you to go and apply the tutorial. And because the tutorial is about applying things, it's about no repetition, because we'll have to start doing the exercises that we have done in the lecture itself. Now, if you want to get the best out of the subject, my advice to you all the time would be to print a copy of the lecture and tutorial materials if you can. Take notes when I'm actually explaining. If you cannot print them, you can take notes. And if you can print them, you can take notes on the printout. And I believe this is going to help you develop your own notes, which will assist you in completing all the assessments, including sitting the exams that I'm going to be assigning to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed to start covering chapter 1, I'm going to just stop for a second and ask any of you, anybody have any questions for me before I proceed?
No, sir.
All good?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll remind you, if anybody
No,
is
sir.
not sure and have a question, please communicate it. Someone just came into the, just join us now. Thank you very much for coming. Please, in the future, try to come on time, my friend, so that you can miss nothing from the lecture. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start talking today about two chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 2. As I said, it's more about an introduction of various concepts. So what you will identify possibly is you will identify potentially more theory today in comparison what you will find in other lectures. But this first one is just have a mix of various things, but including understanding the foundational theory relating to the project of IT project management. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you see from Dilbit's comics that is at the bottom, another division needs your help for a 6-month project. Okay, who will do my work here? Well, you'll keep doing this job too, but only the things that matter. How long have I not been doing things that matter? And that's really a question that is foundational to project management. A lot of time we might be working on things that are not adding any value to our business. A lot of time we might not have a very good understanding of what is our strategy as a business and select our projects according to the strategy, according to the goals that will help me to achieve the long-term mission of my organization. So when you talk about that, a lot of time, if we're not working on things that are meeting the strategic requirements of the business, we are actually working on things that do not matter for the business. You're going to say that this happens. I'll say this happens all the time. One of the big examples is Sydney Water. They basically lost, over, I believe, $10 million in one project that they were working on that they had to go and cancel. It couldn't actually go and achieve the objectives they would like to go and achieve. So many businesses go and work on things that does not actually matter and adds little value to the business. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to understand why project management is crucial in today's world. What is it? Also, we're going to know what is a project and what is a routine operation. We're going to look at a project and how do we manage it. There's a life cycle, there's various stages, and what we do across each stage works and differs. There's an introduction and there's an end. We need to understand the importance of projects in implementing an organization strategy. We're going to understand that managing projects involves balancing two very important things. We need to know the technical sides of project management, and we need to know the socio-cultural dimensions of project management. We're going to explain why is it important for project managers to understand their organization strategy. We're going to identify the significant role projects contribute to organizations' strategic direction, long-term goals for the business. We're going to understand why do we need a project priority system, where if I'm having 10 people telling me to invest into 10 different projects, they tell me, all right, which one should we invest in? We need to have a priority system. We're going to think about applying and selecting projects based on using what we call financial criteria, as well as non-financial criteria. And finally, we're going to understand the multi-criteria model and how could we use to go and select projects. And I'll give you an example for that. I'll allow you to go and make some calculations yourself towards the end. Now guys, when I talk about a project is something that is usually complex, something that is a one-time effort, something that needs to be delivered within a certain time between, let's say, January and December, something that requires a budget. We have $500,000 for that specific project. Have specific resources. You have one project manager and 6 developers. And it is trying to go and deliver specific specifications. In other words, there's a client that comes to tell me, I want you to go and deliver to me something specific. In IT, someone happen all the time. Imagine someone coming to you and say, I would like you to go and deliver to me an application. I would like it to be done in December. I'm going to give you $100,000 for it. And I'm going to go and give you one business analyst to go and support you and 5 developers. It's all clear. It's all specific. You're not doing something that is always been done. You're not like, if it's an account, you're not re-entering an invoice on the system. Okay, it's not something you do regularly. It's something that is one-time effort, something that is complex, something that is not routine work we go and do. It is also something that is temporary. Okay, temporary means there's a project team who comes, gets employed for 5-6 months, do something, and then they move on. It's finished. If you go and think about IT support, there's people in the business who sit down and every time the client calls, asks for a request, and there's people supporting them. But these people support them, that's not a project. These people do the same thing over and over again. For example, 50 clients call and say, can you change my password? 50 clients calls and say, could you please install for me a software? 50 people call say, look, I'm having a problem with logging into this system. Could you change something for me? So it's something that is routine. You do the same thing over and over again. But in a project, it's something that is unique. Building a bridge that's unique. building a new application for Commonwealth Bank. That's something that is unique. So we talk about major characteristics. We have an objective. We have a goal to achieve, and it must be achieved within a lifespan, which is a start time and end time. It has to be achieved by having across the organizational participation. Management need to tell you what they want. Project managers need to go and help you. Sales might need to give you an input. HR might need to get you all the people you need to go and be employed on the project. So there's a lot of across the organization participation to get the job done. We're doing something that's never been done before in that business, and we're doing something that has to be delivered within time, cost, and specific performance requirements. If I was to give you some examples, if I will say entering daily sales receipts on an accounting system, it's repetitive. It's routine work. It is not a project. But if I was to tell you, let's go and install a 10 million project in a business, that's not something you're going to do every day. If I tell you, I want you to go and practice the piano, practice. Every person go and practice. It's a routine thing. You know it, you practice. If I tell you, write me a totally brand new piece of the piano, it's totally something brand new. If I tell you, go and do manufacturing, like an iPhone, we go and do an iPhone, manufacture it, repeat, 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 repeat. If I tell you, create a brand new iPhone for me, that's a project. It will take time to get a specific, unique product that you can go and release to the market. So, you know, there's a lot of difference between things that are routine, repetitive work that are usually done by employees, and there's a manager managing those employees, and a project manager delivering projects, delivering something that is unique, delivering something that changes all the time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about a project management, we talk about something as a project and something as a program. You are guys currently studying one subject, which is IT project management. That's one subject, have a lot of unique things for you to go and have to do. And that unique thing will get you to finish and get the project completed by October this year. But then, when you talk about a program is more than one project. Now, let me guys ask you, to finish your master's degree, how many subjects you need to study?
16.
16 subjects. Okay, absolutely. Now, if I was to tell you, if I was to put your degree at the end, there's 16 points before you get your degree. If I add all of these 16 subjects, all of these 16 are under one program. The program of, I want to go and reach my degree at the end. If I go and tell you about any one of these subjects by themselves, they are a project. Everyone by themselves is a project. You finish the project, you finish the project, you finish the project, you finish the project. 4 projects are finished in one trimester. Great, stage 1 is finished. Then we go to the next stage. There's another 4 subjects. And we go to the third stage, 4 subjects. And the fourth stage, 4 subjects. And all of these 16 subjects are part of the whole program that we're going to go and deliver in our project management. It's a program for the whole business. Does that make sense, guys? Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Now, I'm gonna just kind of give you another example. Okay, a charity would like to become a big, very good at managing operation. To be able to become very good at managing operation, they would like to implement various things. They would like to implement a call logging system, then a customer relationship management system, then an inventory management system. 3 things. How many projects are these, guys? How many projects? 3 projects. So If they go and do the call logging system first, that's one project by itself. If they finish it, they finish one project. But did they finish the program, all of it, to become more efficient? No. For them to become more efficient, they need to go and ensure they do all three items at the same time. They have to then do the customer relationship management system, which is part of another project, part of that program. And then at the end, they need to employ the third system, which is inventory management system. When all of these are completed, which is part of the same program, that's when the program has been completed. Are we clear? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Well done, guys. Now, I'm gonna continue. So if I talk about a project have a number of stages. There's a, if you want, there's a defining stage, there's a planning stage. After I plan what I want to get done, I have to implement the plan. And after I implement the plan, I have to finish the project and go and open a brand new project. So initially, I want to define. But can you see my mouse, guys, the way that I'm hovering? Can you guys see it from your end?
Yes, sir.
Does it show? Perfect. Okay. So when I talk about defining, I have to define at the end, what are we trying to do? The goal. What are the specifications? The client will come and tell you the specification they would like. What are the tasks we need to do? When I talk about tasks, we're talking about, you know, the high level. We haven't really went into detailed planning yet. It's a high level task we need to get the job done. Who is responsible? You know, it's a project team. And what is the job of each member of that project team? Then, when we know the main things we want to do, we're going to have to create the detailed planning. We create, for example, technically something called a work breakdown structure. And who knows, maybe you will have to go and create your own work breakdown structure as part of task one, which is assessment one. You need to learn, how do you create a work breakdown structure? When you create a work breakdown structure, it gives you a structure of all the jobs and tasks that needs to be completed for the project to be completed. From that structure, you can create a schedule. From that structure and the schedule, you can know what sort of resources you need, how much money it's going to cost you, and so on. You can also identify the risks that could happen. We can identify how many people I need, not simply the resources I need. A resource could be a machine, it could be a computer, could be a software. Stuffing is the actual person you need to get the job done. Once you create a plan, you're going to go and execute the plan. You implement it. As you implement the plan, you need to write reports. How are we progressing? Under budget, over budget? You need to see, are people coming and ask me to make changes and introduce much more change requests? Because sometimes when you start the project, they might ask you for feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But after you start, someone might say, you know what? I need feature 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you now have 10 features. So there's changes being requested. When you're implementing the plan, you need to see, are we delivering the right quality? Guys, let me ask you a question. How does quality look like in an IT software project? And don't be scared, share your information with me. How does quality look like in an IT software project? What do you think?
I think if we are able to execute it as per the parameters, then quality-wise it is good.
Sorry, there's a lot of background noise behind you. I really cannot hear what he's saying very well. I'm sorry. Could you maybe type it down?
Now you can hear me, sir?
Yeah, there's like a background noise. I can't actually hear very well. If you can type it now and send it to me, I'll be able to hear it. That'll be great. I'm going to ask someone else. Bishesh. Bishesh. Okay, it meets customers' requirement. It is a good quality software. Absolutely. Now, what is good quality software, guys? Arjun. Don't be scared, guys. Come on. Arjun? Alina?
Sir, if the project got executed without any errors or without any bugs, then it says that project is of
Well
good
done.
quality.
Well done. If the project is executed and we do not have bugs in the project, if the project is doing what is expected to do, what we've planned for it to do, if there are bugs, okay, there's a problem. There's a bug, that means we need to fix it. If we need to fix something, it's going to cost me money. It's like we went and created an iPhone, and if you go and see on the iPhone, you see how there's a chip on it, or there's all of these dots. If there's dots on it, okay, guess what? If you produce it and there's dots on it, it's going to go and have to cost me money to go and fix. Same way, if I produce a project and that project have bugs in it, which means it is not operating as expected, then there's a problem. The project is not doing what we meant for it to go and actually do. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're going to go and have to go and get the right quality. We're going to have to ensure the forecast. You know, I went and I planned and I said the project is going to cost me $1 million. When I'm implementing it, I have to say, I plan 1 million. Does it cost me 1 million? Is it cost me less? Is it cost me more? I have to forecast and monitor the forecast. And finally, we finish this system or the project or whatever it is. The application is done. What do I need to do? I need to close the project, which means I need to pass this system from me to the client to go and use. I need to train them. I need to give them any transfer documents, such as training documents, such as standard operating procedures. How do you actually operate that specific software? Any resources I've used in my project, I have to move so that they can go and work somewhere else. I need to evaluate. Have we done the project well? Have we not done it well? Were there any mistakes? What do we do with it? And finally, we need to learn. If I've made a mistake, let's learn from it so that that mistake will never be repeated again into the future. Now, if you go from the outside, you say, oh, the project manager and any normal manager do the same thing. And that's totally untrue. Because the project manager is not someone who is employed full-time all the time. A project manager is someone who is managing something temporarily. He might be working full-time for the business, but what he manages is only for a temporary period of time. A manager, on the other hand, when you go and tell him you manage this department, it's for an extended period of time. It doesn't change. If you're the call center manager, you remain the call center manager unless you move to another job. The project manager will give you something temporary. Project one, you finish, you move to the next one, you finish, you move to the third one, and so on. The project manager works on things that are non-repetitive. The normal manager is working on something that is repeated all the time, such as let's install the software, such as let's go and reset a password for the client, such as let's go and create new clients, new logins. It's repetitive. It's all the time, same request comes through to the manager. When we talk about a project manager, complete a fixed life project. It have a start end, it have an end end. It's very different than a normal manager's job. Project managers have to motivate the right people at the right time to address the right issues and make the right decisions. It's about timely solving of the problems to get the job done. Now you're going to say, why do we have a lot of project managers? Why is project management becoming very important? Guys, I'm going to give you a very small example. Who has an iPhone? Anybody has an iPhone? Okay, Alina. Alina?
Yes, sir.
What sort of phone do you have? Do you have a Samsung? Do you have an iPhone? What do you have?
I have an iPhone, sir.
iPhone. Okay, I'm going to ask you a very quick question. The iPhone, after how long does Apple release a new iPhone?
Every year, after every 1 year.
After 1 year, okay. Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you another question. Do you know in the
Sure.
past,
Yeah.
how long did people take to release a fan in the past? Did it used to happen that quickly?
Can you come again, sir? I'm not able to get you. Can you repeat the question?
In the past, before we have iPhones and Samsung and all of these guys, in the past,
Okay.
people used to go and develop iPhones. Okay.
Okay.
Did it used to be developed that quickly, or did it used to take longer period of time? What do you think?
It's obvious that it used to take much longer than what is right now, sir.
It used to take much
So they
longer.
used to, yep, not
And
as fast as this during this
absolutely.
time. Yep.
So what you
Yep.
see, there's a compression of the product life cycle. Something that
Yes.
used to take 2 years now
Yep.
takes 6 months.
Yes,
A
exactly.
technology that used to take 2 years to develop, now within a week, some technology changes. There's something new all the time. The process to develop a new product is becoming much more quicker, and that's basically one of the drivers why we have a lot of project management needs in the moment. If you think about knowledge, okay, we develop and renew like trillions of data is being generated every year, trillions of data. Okay, we're now talking about the age of data analytics. We're talking about there's so much data, and we need to benefit from all of this data. That's knowledge. Okay, this knowledge, to be able to go and be benefited from, you need all of these tools, you need all of these projects to be delivered so that we can benefit from all of this knowledge that is available. People are thinking much more than how do we make money. People are thinking about making money, caring about the people around you, and caring about the planet. Social sustainability, environmental sustainability, increase the amount of projects that we work on as an organization. There's corporate downsizing, where you go and have a bank that have 50,000 people, and they say, you know what, I'm going to cut 10,000 people out of my workforce. How are you going to go and do it? To be able to do it, you need to find good, efficient technologies. I'll give you an example. Now, when you go to the airport, okay, do you go and stand in front of a person and give them your bag if you're traveling in Australia, or do you go and use a self-checkout at the moment? How do people travel in Australia? Do they use a self-checkout, or what do they use?
Self-checkout.
Self-checkout. Do you need a person to operate that self-checkout?
No.
Okay, so I used to have 50 people sitting out there in the airport trying to go and take my bag, put a scan on it, and put it inside the machine. Now, what we've done, we introduced technology. Why? Because we want to downsize how much people we have. We put kiosks there, 10, 15, whatever, and the kiosk becomes my employee. So that basically, you want to deliver things more efficient, you need projects to get that done. You want to go and increase a customer focus. The customer always wants new requirements. You want that to happen? You need to sit down with them, understand their needs, and give them exactly what they want. A lot of time now, small projects represent so big problems because they drive so much efficiency and they cut so much cost into our business. And that's why there's a lot of drivers driving us to have more projects nowadays. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play a very, very quick video. So listen to that and understand what's happening in the world today. Are you guys ready? Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. All right, guys. Okay. What do you think, guys, about this video?
Technology is changing our life very fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of happening from a technology perspective at the moment. What else, guys? So what did the one thing you've seen in that video? Arjun. Arjun,
Yes, sir.
what did you see? What do you think, man?
Like we can see, like in every second, the world is changing. The technology is also making impact on every one of us.
Every second, the world is changing.
Yeah.
Every second, technology is making an impact. And that's why you guys will be so valuable in the future. You guys will change the future. You will keep on learning, you'll keep on growing, and you'll be able to go and build a career to change the world. You guys will change the world in the future. It keeps on changing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we try to manage a project. We try to create what we call a project governance, where we have what we call a lot of time a project management office. And that office is manage all the project management initiatives within one specific company. So a governance, a project office have an overview of all the project management activities that we basically go and have. It goes, I have a big picture. It's like I'm sitting out there and I can see all the way how all of these organizational resources are being used. I can see all of these projects. How much risk do I have across various projects across my portfolio? I can go and see, you know, how well am I managing my projects comparing to how people in the industry are actually managing the project. I can go and ensure whatever I'm working on from the high level, it's actually linked to senior management. Senior management want to only have the high level information, making sure they have the details that could help them to see how things are progressing. When I talk about the organization, it is very important to have a number of levels. It's very important. If we go here and look at this circle, you can see project management as the bottom, which is I need to go and ensure I manage my project. My project are part of a big portfolio of projects. So there's a portfolio of operational projects, strategic projects, and so on. So there's a portfolio of projects, okay, that we have. We manage a portfolio. Here, there's individual people managing each project, and any project under my portfolio needs to be something that is aligned with what are we trying to deliver strategically in our business. So what is really my strategic needs that I'm trying to go and achieve within my organization? My strategy helped me to choose what sort of project we need to work on in the portfolio of projects, and this portfolio of projects, we'll pick projects from this portfolio and we'll give them to project managers to go and manage at the bottom. When we talk about the portfolio management, what do we do when it comes to portfolio management? We basically have a group of people overseeing and monitoring the selection of projects. They basically go and monitor the aggregate resource level, how much resource we have up there, and how are we developing and using all of these resources throughout all of these projects within my business. This high level portfolio management, say, okay, there's a best practice available out there. Let's go and implement it. There's a lot of risk happening here. This project is very risky. This project is medium risk. This project is low risk. You go and have a balance of all of these risks within the project. This portfolio, we communicate better with all the stakeholders across all the projects. We go and think down, we speak to people who are doing the project, or we also speak up with the senior management who basically is overseeing how things are progressing. We basically start having people in the business not thinking, oh, it's me against this project. I have to take this resource. That's why, because if I don't take it, then you're gonna take it. It's not. Forget about you, me, and me, our enemies, and think about all of us across that whole portfolio are needed to meet the real business objectives. Simply, when you have a project management office, they will help you to improve the overall management of projects throughout time in the organization. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to manage a project? You need to think about learning two very important things. You need to learn about the technical side of project management and the sociocultural side of project management. I will teach you about both. And I'm going to say, now I have 31 people enrolled. I'm going to say you need and highly encouraged to come to every single lecture. And the reason why is very simple, because during the lectures, I am going to go and ensure I'm teaching about the technical and non-technical side of project management, especially the next week and so on. We're going to start talking a bit more technical. So how do you create a project scope? How do you create a work breakdown structure? How do you create your schedule? How do you allocate resources? How do you create a baseline budget? How do you create status report? These are all technical things relating to project management. But there are non-technical things. How do we solve problems? How do we lead? How do we work as a team? How do we negotiate? In week 7, there's 2 negotiation exercises you guys will be doing. I'll be assigned to groups and you guys will negotiate. You'll get the practicality of doing things. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at this small, again, comic. You know, after 8 months, senior management finally approved my project plan. Well, if they're taking 8 months to approve my plan, what happened in IT in 8 months, guys? If I wait 8 months to approve an IT project, is there any need for me to do that project anymore? What do you think? If I waited for 8 months to get a project approved, do we still need to do that project? What do you think, Deepu?
No, sir.
There's no way. It's actually technology has changed. It's moved on. You need to be quick. Okay, we cannot simply create a new plan and say, oh, let's go and do the same thing. Things change. We need to change accordingly. Guys, we need to have a right strategy in our business. We need to be very clear that any project I'm working on, it's linked back to what I said up here. It's linked back to my strategy, strategic alignment. If it's not meeting my strategy, there's no point for me to go and do it. So I need to have every project clearly linked to my strategy. It will provide me an ability to focus on what is really important in the future for my business. It will allow me to go and all the time, if something is aligned with my strategy, I'm going to go and keep on looking at the environment out there. See, is the needs of my business to change? If the needs to change, I might need to change the project that I'm working on. I need to go and ensure that any project I'm working on, I have limited resources. I'm going to need to go and assign those resources to those projects. I need to ensure there's a very clear link between my mission, my goals, my objective, my strategy, and what I'm actually implementing. I cannot implement anything that does not meet my strategy. So strategy is a foundation. There's all the time, my mission might change. If whatever we're trying to achieve has changed because the environment has changed, as a project manager, I need to go and make the right decision. I might need to say, you know, this project that we were working on, it is no longer meeting our strategic needs. Let's cancel it and shelve it. And let's go and do that project instead. We need to go and demonstrate to senior management at any point of time that any project we're working on is meeting my strategic needs. The way that it works is like this. We need to understand, what are we now? What do we want to be? And how do we get there? What we are now is, what is my current mission? What I'm trying to go and achieve. To build your mission, to decide what you want to become, you need to look at the environment out there. I cannot go and say, I would like to go and be an ice cream seller. Why? There's so many people selling ice cream. I'm going to go and do what everybody else is doing. I'm going to not be competitive. I have to go and look at the environment. Look inside my business. Look about my strengths and weaknesses. Look outside. Look about the opportunities. Look about the threats. And use that to create my mission. Use that to decide, what are my goals? What are my objectives? When I know my goals and my objectives, I'll be able to select a portfolio of strategic choices. How are we going to go? What are we going to actually go and do? Portfolio of things we're going to do to be able to reach our goals and objectives. And finally, we need to implement it. We need to get the right project selection. We need to implement those projects. We need to implement a strategy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you like your break now? Do you guys want your break now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna. All right, guys. So let's continue. We spoke about, we need to go and understand what we are now, what we intend to be, and how are we actually intending to go and get there. The mission really identifies what we want to become, guys, and the scope of the organization in terms of what sort of product or services we would like to go and really deliver. The purpose of the organization, what are we trying to achieve for all the stakeholders, not simply people inside my business? How do we plan to go and survive and grow in the future to be able to go and make money? This is the mission of Google. Our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So we want to make sure that people are going to be able to go and get all of that information. People are going to be able to find all of this information to go and be very useful to go and use for them. We need to go and then think about what needs to be done to reach the objective. So if we want to go and, organize the information and make it, universally accessible and useful, then we need to go and engage in projects that will enable you to go and ensure I get this outcome to be delivered. So I need to formulate the objective. I need to formulate what I want to do to reach my goals, which involves I need to evaluate what is my past and what is my current position. I need to go and assess what are all of these risks that are in front of me and outside the business, in and out of the business. Because when I know what I want to achieve, when I know what are the risks that are around me, when I know my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, and my threats, I'll be able to choose what sort of products I'm going to go and decide to go and create and deliver into the future. I need to go and create objectives. And when you think about objective, we always talk about we need to deliver smart objectives, things that are specific, things that I can measure, things that I can assign to the person who needs to go and do the work, things that are realistic, things that are time related. It has to be delivered within a specific time. If I go and tell you, I want you to go and become, open a business that is worth $10 million in 1 year, you're going to say, this is not realistic. You need to set goals that are very realistic to go and be achieved. And same wise, your project goals needs to be realistic. We're going to then need to implement the strategies. If I go and say my strategy is to go and become a very efficient non-for-profit, as I mentioned before, and that means I need to go and build a call logging system, a customer relationship management system, as well as a inventory management system, I need to go and ensure there's 3 projects to implement. I need to allocate resources. Let's put the equipment. Let's get the money. Let's put the people. Let's create a formal structure to support me to go and reach my goal. Let's create a way for me to plan and control my project. Let me go and motivate everybody who is going to work with me and motivate them to go and reach success. When I was working in the IT field, one of the best things we used to do is when we go and deliver and reach a milestone, you know what we used to do? We used to sit down as a group, join everybody in the business all over Australia. And what do? Is we start making an official celebration. We'll be having food, drink, we'll be recognizing the achievement of everyone who was working on that specific project. And do you know what used to happen? People used to love it. They were becoming much more motivated to do the job. You don't want to go and treat people unwell and unfairly, because they will no longer be motivated to go and work very hard for the project. A lot of time, guys, we go and select a portfolio of projects to work on. We select all of these, a group of operational projects, group of strategic projects, and group of, if you want, regulatory project we must do to continue to operate in the business. You have all of these portfolios of various projects in IT. Software project, hardware project, architecture project, whatever they are. The problem with project portfolio management is where you choose the wrong projects to work on that do not fit with your strategy. When there's the implementation gap, there's a senior manager and a middle manager, and they cannot agree on what is really important to the strategic needs of the business. When you go and say, we're going to go and choose something that fits with my strategy, but then the CEO comes and tells you, I want you to do this project. But you say, Mr. CEO, this project doesn't fit the strategy. But you still do it because there's politics, and based on the power, he tells you to do that project. When there's a lot of conflict, resource and multitasking, starting, stopping a task, starting, stopping a task. If you have the same person, let's say you have one project manager or one developer, if that developer working on one project, another project, that means you have to work a little bit on your project, then stop, then a little bit on the next project, then stop, then a little bit on the third project, then stop. And that means he's not working efficiently. That's a problem when you go and work on something, but you don't have enough resources to go and work on it. My friends, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Everybody clear?
Yes.
All right, let's continue. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the best benefit of project portfolio management is we create discipline. We create our own approach to selecting projects. We ensure that we link the selection of the project to the strategic need of the business. We create priorities. We create all of these criteria that will help me to evaluate whether the project is good or bad. Let me take politics away. Let me take my emotions away. And let me ask, does this fit my requirements that I've stipulated? We go and ensure that we allocate resources only to projects that meet my strategic needs. We go and ensure we selected a portfolio. Some are very much risk, some are medium risk, some are low risk. You go and create a balance. You have a good project portfolio management means at any point of time, if there's a project that does not meet your strategy, bang, you can cancel it and kill it straight away. It improves communication. It supports people to agree. Guys, I'm not trying to be against you or you against me. These are the requirements. Does it meet it? As a group, let's just start. Yes? Perfect. No? Let's not do it. Now, when I talk about portfolio management system, it's really a portfolio of projects we need to choose. The first thing we need to do when it comes to designing a project portfolio system is we need to classify those projects into categories. If I talk about IT, guys, what sort of projects do I have? Could you tell me? If I talk about information technology, what sort of projects could you tell me? What sort of category of projects? What do you think? Saida?
Any applications like mobile
Yeah,
application?
mobile application projects. Well done. Thank you very much. There are various categories. There are various classifications. You might say this is a hardware project. You might say this is a software project. You might say this is an application project. You might say this is a network project. Okay, there's so many projects. Then you need to have a selection criteria depending on the classification. How do I choose hardware projects? How do I choose software projects? How do I choose network projects? We need to have a sources of proposals. Who in the business can propose for me what we want to go and work on? You can pick people to go and make proposals. Who's going to go and evaluate a proposal? If I tell you, hey, listen, guys, I believe we need to go and make a new inventory management system. Okay, who's going to go and evaluate my proposal that it's a good proposal or a bad proposal? We go, we evaluate the proposals, and we come and say, all right, let me manage the portfolio of projects. We've chosen them. We're going to work on 1, 2, 3, 4, high risk, medium risk, low risk. Let's go and work on them. So starting with the project classification, a lot of time we classify projects based on strategic, operational, or compliance. Strategic, my long-term needs. Operational, my current day-to-day management needs. And compliance, if you do not do this, you cannot operate. Compliance might be something along the line, if you are not going to ensure that all the client data is going to remain confidential, you cannot operate. What's that? That's a compliance. That's a regulatory. That's a foundation. You're not protecting the data of clients, you cannot operate. So various types of projects in a business. Now, we need to select those projects. There are two ways to select them. There's what we call financial ways of selecting them and non-financial ways of selecting them. Financial ways, there's two methods or three methods of calculations. There's a payback method, which I'll mention very shortly. There's a net present value method, and there's an internal rate of return method. There are also non-financial methods to try to ensure, does the project act as a strategically important for my business? There's what we call multi-weighted scoring models, which is really could be, if you want, a mix of mainly a financial method. It's like a calculation method, but it's not very financial. It's actually non-financial, but it uses calculations based on set criteria, and I'll show you an example of that very shortly. You're going to calculate it yourself, actually. Payback method. Now, payback method is like I tell you, all right, guys, I'm going to ask a question and I need you to answer me. Guys, I am going to open a project now. The project is going to cost me $1 million. I anticipate to be able to earn $250,000 in cost savings after I implement the project per year. So the project will cost me $1 million. And every year, I'm going to be saving $250,000. Could you guys tell me how many years do I need to pay back for my project? It cost me $1 million, and every year, I'm going to generate $250,000 in saved costs. How many years do I need to get payback for the project to be paid after I've invested $1 million? What do you think?
I think 4 years.
Absolutely, 4 years. 250 the first year, 250 the second year, 250 the third year, 250 the fourth year, and guess what? I got the $1 million back. And that's a payback model. It basically tries to say, how long do I need? It looks how much income going to come in. It tells you, okay, we want to try to get the money back paid very, very quickly. So the shorter the payback period, the better the project is for me. The problem with the payback model is it ignores the time value of money. What does that mean? $1 I invest today is worth less than $1 next year. It assumes that cash inflow for the investment period. So, okay, what happens after the 4th year? Don't I need to look, am I going to make money out of it in the 5th year and 6 years or no? It doesn't calculate that. It does not consider how much money I'm going to go and get as a result of doing that project. Net present, this is an example. I'm going to invest 700,000. I'm going to save 225,000. So 225, if I go and divide 700,000 divided by 225, it'll take me 3.1 years to be able to go and get the money back. Second project, it's going to be 400,000, and every year I'm going to save 110,000. 400 divided 110,000, it's going to take me 3.6 years to get the project. Project A, they accepted because it's less than 5 years to get the money back, and it's going to give me a rate of return, which is a benefit, more than 15%. That's a very small example of a payback method. Any questions? Are we clear?
No.
Is that a no or a yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. No problem. All right. Let me go and do the next one. Next one is a net present value. Net present value tells you, doesn't simply want to know how much money you're going to get per year. Net present value want to know if you get $100 next year, how much is that $100 really calculated in today's money? Is it really $100 or is it less? So you need to calculate it. If I was to invest $1 million today, in 10 years, that $1 million is actually worth much less money than what it's worth at the moment. So what to do with this calculation is you want to ensure you select the project that will provide a positive net present value, and anything that gives you a negative net present value is going to be rejected. By the way, I might actually give you some examples of payback method. Net present value is a bit more complicated to calculate. I'm not giving you any examples for you to calculate in here or in the exam, but just understand that it's usually a spreadsheet that have all the information in it, and it tells you straight away whether the net present value is positive or negative. You look here. Year 0, I invested $700,000 for project 1, 400 for project 2. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Every year I'm getting 225,000. Every year I'm getting 110,000. My inflow is 101,125,000. My outflow, which is what I invested, is 700,000. I've actually made 425,000. In the second project, I'm getting every year 110,000. So that's over 5 years is $550,000. And I've already paid $400,000 initially. So today in year 5, I have $150,000 from project B, $425,000 from project A. But if you calculate it in terms of today's money, how much is the value of money, because the money loses value every year, I actually have $54,000 net present value, positive net present value for project A. But project B, this $150,000, well, if you think about it over 5 years, it actually lost a lot of value. So I'm actually losing money in the second project. And that's why we're not choosing it, because if I calculate the loss of money value, the project is actually not beneficial for me. My friends, does that make sense?
Yes.
Guys, You understand? Does that make sense? If there's any question, do you wanna type it down? If anybody have any questions? Are we all good?
Sir, thank you.
Perfect, sir. Okay. Now there are non-financial criteria that we also use to go and choose a project. For example, I might want to go and do this project because I want to capture a larger market share. I want to go and do this project because I want to make it difficult for anybody who is competing to come into the market. I want to develop an enabler product, which if I introduce, it will increase sales. I want to develop a core technology that will be used in the next generation of products. I want to reduce dependency on a supplier that is unreliable. I want to prevent government intervention in regulation. So there's a non-financial strategic reasons for me to go and do a project. Now, how do we choose the project? A lot of time we use what is called a checklist model. It's like, I give you a list of questions and you go and say, all right, let me answer those questions. And based on the answers, let's choose whether we do the project or whether we don't do that specific project. That's an example. Culture. Is our organizational culture right for this type of project? Will internal resources be available? Will we build or buy? How long will the project take? Is a timeline realistic? Will staff training be required? What is the estimated cost? Is a new initiative or part? Is this a new initiative or part of an existing initiative? How does this project interact with current projects? Is the technology available or new? Now, let me ask Aman. Aman, can you hear me? Is Aman here? Okay, Arjun. Come on, guys, interact with me. Where are you? Sujat, Sayed, Sujata.
Hello from a side, sir.
Who's this?
But I'm not Sujata. This is Zakar Rahman.
Yes,
How
sir.
are you,
I'm
brother?
Sujata.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Okay, you answer to
Yeah.
me. If I tell you, if we ask the question, is our organizational culture right for this project? And if the answer is no, it's not, should we do that project? If we say, is our organizational culture right for this project? And we answer no, it's not, should we do this project? Yes or no?
No, if it's
No.
not right for our culture organization, so we shouldn't do it.
No worries, absolutely. We should not actually go and do it because it does not fit our requirements. So this is the sort of things where it's a checklist. You ask the questions, and based on the answers, you decide whether it should be done or whether it should not be done.
That's perfect.
Now, guys, a lot of time we use multi-weighted scoring model. It's like I tell you, okay, if I'm going to ask you, if you say I'm going to buy a car, what sort of criteria you use for buying a car? What sort of things are important to you when you buy a car, or when you buy a computer? What sort of things are important to you?
Just a bunch of money.
Okay, how much? Okay, cost is one criteria. What else?
Yeah.
Whether it meets our specifications.
Yes, specifications. So cost, specifications. What else?
It's-
Warranty.
Yes.
Maybe yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is cost, specification, and warranty, are they all equally important, or is one of them more important for you?
I think the cost is most important.
Okay, so for you, the cost
Because
is more
without that,
important.
we can't buy that.
Okay, and that's what we talk about multi-weighted scoring model. You have many criteria. For each criteria, you put more, if you want, a higher or lower priority. So if something is very important, you might give it a high ranking or high score. If something that is not really important, you give it a very low score. So you basically start thinking about it accordingly. I'm going to show you this example. Guys, look at the left. I have projects 1 all the way to project N.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand it because you need to calculate this. We have project A, 1 all the way to project N. On the right-hand side, there's 1 criteria, which is staying with the core competencies, 2 strategic fit, 3 urgency, 25% of sales, reduce defects, improve customer loyalty, and return on investment over 18%. Now, all of these criteria together, they're equal 14.5. So the return on investment and strategic fit is the most important criteria. It is a 3 criteria. The reduce defects and improve loyalty, it's only a 1% criteria, which is its importance is 1. So the higher number means the criteria is more important. The lower number means the criteria is less important. So here we assign a weight of 3 and 3 for strategic fit and return on investment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for stay with the core competency, what's the weight, guys? How much is a stay with core competency? What's the weight for it?
2.0.
It's 2.0. It's 2 o'clock. What about urgency? How important is urgency?
Yes.
How important is it?
Same
1,
like
2,
previous
3?
1, 2.
It's 2. Now, this is the weight of importance for each criteria.
All right.
The next thing you do is you look at each project. Okay?
Yes.
And you say the following. You say, okay, for project 1, between 1 and 10, how much is it staying with the core competency? Project 1 is not staying with the core competency. It's only a 1. Okay. How important is it fitting with strategy? Project 1 is 8. It's really fitting with strategy.
Really important. Yeah.
What about urgency? How urgent is project 1? It's 2. It's not very urgent. 25% for sales from new products. Is project 1 going to give me 25% of sales from new products? Well, yeah, it's not bad. It's going to give me a 6. Is it going to reduce defects? It's a 0. It has nothing to do with defects. Does that make sense? So for every project, you are ranking it. Yeah? You're ranking out of 10, how does this project 1 perform out of 10 for each criteria? How does project 2 perform out of 10 for each criteria? Project 3, 4, 5, and so on. Now, we need to calculate the totals. So, guys, focus with me. If I say project 1, and I need you to write in front of you now. If I say project 1 is only giving me a ranking of 1 when it comes to stay with core competency, the weight of it is 2. So 2 multiply 1, give me how much?
2.
2 multiplied by 1, give me 2. Write it in front of you, 2.
2.
Then for project 1, strategic fit, 3 multiplied by 8. What's the total?
24.
So that's 2 plus 24.
26.
Okay. Now 2 multiplied by 2. What's the total?
4.
4.
Add an extra 4. 2.5 multiply 6. Add the total.
15.
15. 1 multiply 0. Add the total.
0.
1 multiply 6. Add the total.
6.
And 3 multiply 5. Add the total.
15.
What's the total for all of these together?
66.
Okay. So project 1 is giving me a score of 66. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I need you to calculate project 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and N. You calculate it now, and you give me the total. Okay? I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that. Okay. Let's calculate for every project, and then I'm going to show you the total for you guys. And you can compare your total to that total. Thank you, Dipan. Is anyone finished yet? Sorry. Dipanjan. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Right, so calculate as many as you can. I'm going to give you 1 more minute. It doesn't matter if you didn't calculate all of them, but calculate at least some of them. All right, let's see. Thank you, Imran. All right, I'm going to show you the answer now. Are you ready? Okay, who got the second one correct? So 3 times 2, 6. 3 times 3, 9.
9, yeah.
2 times 2, 4. 0, 0, 5, and 3, 27. Who got 56 correct, guys?
I got.
Okay, good. So you guys understand how to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, guys? Do we all understand?
Yeah, no questions. Thank you.
You're going to have the chance to do it more now also in the tutorial, okay? But that's the foundation. So that's a weighted factor model that we use to select projects. You basically choose possibly the one that gives you a higher ranking, such as project 5. Yeah, we should do that. Such as, you know, project N. Yeah, we should do that. It's going to give, you know, give me potentially a good fit and so on. So we work through that. Now, steps involved in selecting a project. First of all, we need to go and get the sources of information and proposals. A lot of times it is within the organization. People a lot of time are asked to create what is called a request for proposal. Sometimes it comes from external people, but you make a proposal to me, look, I propose we do this. That's a benefit, that's the issue. And then people will go and say and think whether they should do it or not. They classify it. Does it fit with the strategic needs? Does it fit with the operational need? Or does it not fit? So people will go and make that specific assessment. They select a model. And that model is about, you know, how do we go and actually decide that whether something is going to actually meet our stuff. We're going to use a quantitative model. We're going to use a qualitative model. We're going to create a model for us to go and actually assess whether a specific project meets with our specific strategic priority. And then when we choose the model, either financial, either checklist, either a calculation, we rank the proposal from high to bottom. Which one meets it? Which one doesn't meet it? We go and make that choice accordingly, and we go and deliver that project. When we go and create all the way from let's get the proposal to let's rank the proposal and select how we're going to assess it to ranking it, you basically choose the right projects in the portfolio that meets the needs of the business. You manage a portfolio involves getting senior management input a lot of time, and ensuring there's a priority team understand their responsibilities. What does that actually mean? Well, when you're choosing the portfolio, senior management provide the guidance you need to select the criteria. They basically ensure that the criteria you choose to assess the project is meeting the strategic organizational needs. They help you decide how to balance the resources that are available among all of these current projects. We have the priority team. What do? They publish the priority of every project: high priority, low priority, medium priority. They ensure that the project selection process is free from any politics. We're choosing the project because it meets the goals. They reassess the organizational goals and priorities, because when they change, the project we're working on must go and change. And they also evaluate how is the current project progressing. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the conclusion of today's lecture. Do you have any questions? Is everything clear or not? Anybody have any questions? Are we all good and sweet?
Yeah, good, good.
All right, guys. Guys, come to the lecture every week, because we're going to cover important information. For this week, that is what you need to do. I give you a task for every week. Review the lecture slides, the tutorial materials, and the notes you've taken. Get familiar with the Moodle site, read and understand the requirements of assessments, and read chapters 1 and 2. If you continue studying with me from week 1, you'll be ready for when the quiz comes in week 4 and for when the quiz comes in week 7. Guys. I didn't forget about that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for highlighting attendance. Guys, I want to start by saying, I want to thank you very much for your time. I'm one of the guys who actually cares so much about saying thank you to you guys. Thank you for all your effort. It's very important for me. Please do not go, because there's another thing I would like to go and do before you guys go, including attendance plus one more thing. So please do not log out just yet. Let me just stop recording. Thank you very much again for your time. Stay with